Well, studio. So once again, Rhino, 336,000 and some odd, right, was the final total yesterday for the Palmer home.
Final announced total. I'm sure it'll go up just a little bit as more comes in.
Fantastic work by the entire SuperTalk team. Really enjoyed that yesterday. So we've got DeKeither Stamps. He's the Public Service Commissioner for the Central District of Mississippi. Commissioner, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to have me. Opportunity to be here again with you.
Yes, sir. Well, you bet. So just for the benefit of the folks, there are 3 districts in Mississippi that are charged with oversight of regulated utilities. That's what the Public Service Commission does. You've got the Central District. How many counties in the district?
22 counties. About good folks, 95 towns.
Okay.
95 mayors and boards of aldermen.
I bet you know them all at this point. Yeah. All right, 22 counties. So start out by just giving us an update. What's the latest going on at the PSC?
Well, we set a goal when we came aboard, myself, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Carr, of creating $100 billion in economic development and creating 100,000 jobs. And we're well on our way. We've been plugging away all across the state, pursuing more economic development projects and pursuing opportunities to grow our economy here in Mississippi. And I appreciate the entire executive branch for coming together to work together on issues like Amazon and like the data center in Meridian and the battery plant up in Marshall County and several other projects from large to small all across the state of Mississippi.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that. And as you know, the power, in particular electricity, is kind of the new currency in economic development.
That's right.
There's no doubt about it. And that's not just in Mississippi. That's across the entire nation.
Yeah, the problem of power and where it's going to come from and how it's going to be distributed is a Goliath of a problem.
No doubt. And the president's actually been talking about that the last couple of weeks. In fact, earlier this week, he stated we need to produce more electricity. I'm maybe paraphrasing. I don't remember his exact language, but it basically what it's saying is it was kind of imploring the utility industry, get out there and figure out a way to produce more electricity.
It's a Goliath of a problem. And,
no doubt.
And no one has a complete solution for it, but everyone's plugging away to make the power grid more reliable and sustainable for the future.
Yeah, and to handle the additional demand that's coming about because of these giant data center facilities, which are fueling this AI revolution, and there's tremendous economic opportunity in that, and we need to make sure we got enough electricity to handle it.
Most definitely, and we need the partners at the table to do it.
Okay.
And I feel that we got effective partners at the table to meet the power demands of Mississippi and across the region. We've been working with the commissioners from all the southern states.
Okay.
We just got back from CRUC, which is the Southeastern Utility Regulators Conference, and we're deeply involved in that organization. Commissioner Brown is going to be the president next year, and we're working across the entire South to ensure that the southeastern portion of the United States has enough power generation and forward-thinking planning to execute power regulatory affairs effectively.
Okay. So in your footprint, how many electric generating utilities do you have?
Oh, my gosh. We're due to be decommissioning a few of them, but we've just stood up the Delta Blues generation facility. There's a few more that are proposed that are on the table that we're working through the details of. But that Delta Blues was critical for us because the Delta does not produce enough power. That's why you don't have a major industry there. You don't have enough juice. You don't have enough generation. And that facility was due to be decommissioned, and it was going to lose that generation in the Delta. But now, through several investments, specifically with the Amazon investment, that was a $1.2 billion investment into Washington County.
Okay.
That's going to spur economic development and light manufacturing across that whole area. You got good folks in the Delta. They'll stay there. If they have jobs there, they'll work those jobs for an extended amount of time. So now they got the ability to go out and reach those.
Yeah. No doubt about it. So we've got this massive project in Madison County that's got a lot of attention, the Amazon Web Services 2 hyperscale data center campuses that will be the sites where a number of buildings are going to be stood up. Looks like right now about 16 total, each building about 250,000 square feet. So I've seen some estimates that Entergy, who will be supplying the electricity to these buildings, to these facilities, is going to increase their generation capacity by about a third from what it currently is. We had, of course, CEO of Entergy, Haley Fasackerly, on the program last week talking about that. And so in order to accommodate that need, they are investing a couple of $1 billion plus, I believe, in new generation and transmission infrastructure, right?
That's going to be huge for the reliability of our services all across the state. Next, we have to get the reliability up in several other areas as well. But we got the effective folks at the table to tackle this problem. It's going to take a long time to get us where we want to be, but we're well on our way.
All right, so you were sharing with me a video that you produced that you said has gone viral in your industry, right?
Fun thing, I was out on the farm and I got a phone call that said that restaurants in Fondren were closing down and on a Sunday, which is their big day.
When did that occur?
That was 2 Sundays ago.
Okay.
And it was due to
Fondren, for the folks across the state, by the way, that's in downtown area of Jackson near the UMC Medical Center, if you know where that is.
Fondren, down State Street.
Yeah.
And further investigation showed there was a potential lightning strike in one part of it, bad weather. Several air conditioning systems were down. And I just grabbed my phone and just kind of talked about where we are with reliability, because we got folks in rural Hinds County and rural Madison County who've lost power over 40 times this year alone. And that reliability must increase. Entergy was already aware, but now they're deeply aware and starting to have some town halls in these areas to explain the issue, but more importantly, lay out a plan to resolve these reliability concerns in the rural areas of Mississippi. And
some of that, you were explaining to me, has to do more with when you get sort of the end of the distribution point, that it's not a matter of not having sufficient capacity or even the major substation transmission facilities, but it's those lines that we all see, often on poles still.
And to a point, part of it's right-of-way maintenance at the county level, because many times you got line workers who are having to clear trees out of the street before they can get to the problem. They spend an hour cutting down trees and moving them out the road so they can get the truck down the road to the point where the power's out. So counties must invest more in their right-of-way maintenance budgets. That's kind of gotten away from us. And also we need to make more effective investments in vegetation management. About 76% of all those power outages are due to vegetation management.
Okay.
So I believe we got the right people at the table right now to work on these reliability issues. We've rung the bell all the way to the national level, all the way down to the local level. So we're marshaling troops to present a progress in getting this reliability in order.
All right. So you were just sharing with me, and I'll pose it as a question because I want to make sure that we're okay to talk about this, that Entergy is shorthanded. They need staff, right?
We've been traveling all across the state because right now Entergy has 1,061 job openings today.
That's mind-boggling
in Mississippi.
Okay.
Jobs that are funded, budgeted, and vacant.
Okay.
We need young people working, and young folks could get to work and be making 6 figures in 5 years as a lineman. They could be engineers. You can go right on the Public Service Commission's website. Click on my picture, and you'll see a space that says Utility Jobs.
Okay, from your website.
On the Public Service Commission website, it says Utility Jobs there. And you click on that, and you'll see all the utility companies. It links you right to the job openings. And if there's an educational requirement for that position, the education requirements are on that same page. Just keep scrolling down the page. You'll see the education requirements for each job there.
Okay.
But we need everybody to do a little what we call couch kicking. We need you to don't leave out the house going to work, leaving young folks on the couch at home. Get those young folks to work, especially in the utility space. Most of these jobs are recession-proof. 90% of the jobs in the utility space don't even require a college degree. They require a certification process or an associate's degree. So let's get our young people to work and fill these positions.
Okay. We got a break right now. Can you hang on for another segment? We'll dig into it. We got Central District Public Service Commissioner DeKeither Stamps in the Element Wealth Studio. It's Public Service Commissioner DeKeither Stamps. He is the commissioner for the Central District. Remember, there are 3 in Mississippi, just like we have 3 transportation commissioners. That's the way the footprint is divided. The state is divided. So what's gotten a lot of attention here lately, Commissioner, are some concerns by people that this AWS project is going to drive up rates for the ratepayers outside of AWS. So you were talking to me before we started the segment that the legislation that passed in the state capitol, signed into law by the governor, authorized the company, in this case AWS, to negotiate their rates directly with the electricity provider, and that being Entergy in Madison County. And so there's concerns that have surfaced by some who say, well, this is going to be a boondoggle that's going to result in rates going up for everybody else but AWS, because they fear that the rate has been negotiated at such a discount that it's not going to be sufficient to cover Entergy's investment and a reasonable profit to accommodate the additional generation and transmission. And there are some who say, yeah, folks could see their power bills go up as a result. But I'm going to let you explain it, but you explain to me that this legislation essentially excludes the PSC. You don't have governance over this particular contract. This is a private contract between AWS and Entergy that was authorized by the legislation and included more the involvement of Mississippi Development Authority as part of the deal. Am I stating everything correctly there?
That's correct.
Okay. So you guys aren't involved at all?
Well, one thing I will say is this. We will govern it, and everybody knows me, the same person that was a city councilman and a state legislator. I govern the same way. When I identify something, just like I did with Siemens early on, okay, I'm going to throw a red flag. If I run across some information that leads me to believe that someone's taking advantage of a ratepayer, DeKeither Stamps is going to tell it. I'm going to come before the people and explain to you what's happening. I have seen nothing of that to date. Okay. But if I do see something through our prudency reviews and how we review everything that goes on with Entergy, okay, if I see a cost shifting towards the ratepayer of undue burden, I'm definitely going to raise a red flag and be, as always, transparent and open and give you the information I have. But give it to you early on when it's still actionable. Okay. And so that's my pledge to everyone, is that you have a watchdog on the fence and a whole staff of folks who are making sure the ratepayers' interests are covered. So the way this would work is, let's say that the construction's complete, the data centers are online, Entergy's providing electricity to AWS. AWS is obviously paying them at whatever that negotiated rate is. And then at some point down the road, Entergy then comes forward, which is the normal process, right? They have to come forward when they want a rate adjustment, and there's certain things that do justify that, and they have to prove that, right? Correct. That's the way the process works. Yeah. What if they come forward and say, hey, look, our costs have increased and all the other factors that you guys consider, thus we are requesting a rate increase? How are you going to dig in to know, is this a direct result of perhaps a discounted rate they're charging AWS? How's that going to work? Well, just like Entergy or MP&L, Mississippi has been in the electric business for a long time. So we got good folks on the governance side and good folks on the utility side who have been doing this long enough to be able to smell the smoke before the fire even happens. So we got a good set of watchdogs on the fence to make sure that through our prudency reviews that the ratepayers' interests are covered, and if we identify something that we don't have the ability to govern, but we know, we would definitely roll that out to the public and to the legislator to seek, some type of change that needs to happen. Okay. But I haven't seen anything that signals that to date. But we definitely are watchful because other states have had similar type issues, maybe due to some of the ways they did the business in the first place. But from what I've seen some safeguards in place to stop that from happening. But there have been some investments that have saved Mississippi. The Delta Blues Power Station is the largest investment in the history of the Mississippi Delta, and it's going to allow for more power generation in the Delta to be able to facilitate economic development all up Highway 61. And that's going to yield huge returns for Mississippi. And so will the other investments that Amazon is making in Mississippi.
Okay, so would that have happened?
It would not have happened.
Without this project?
Correct, it would not have happened.
I didn't think so either.
It would not have happened.
The CEO of Entergy, Haley Forsackley, was on the program last week, and the way he explained it was this is enabling us to make investments to modernize our infrastructure that everyone will benefit from. I mean, all this gets fed into the same grid, right? That then distributes out to Amazon and everybody else that consumes power. So
but
we're
now
all benefiting from
those
that.
distribution lines can be upgraded, where you may have this size distribution lines. Now you got this size distribution lines because of this investment. Now you can push more power around the state, and without having to charge the residential ratepayer for that distribution or power generation.
Well, as you know, a whole lot of work occurred behind the scenes for an extended period of time involving Entergy and AWS before AWS says, yeah, we're confident you guys can meet our needs here.
That's right.
And then, of course, Entergy had to get approval from their board to make these massive investments. I think $2.5 billion in new generation and transmission to accommodate. Do you feel like that because of that, maybe we'll address some of these reliability problems? I know we still have the last mile issue with just the lines out there on the street and all the vegetation causing problems. Should this help, though?
Oh, it's definitely going to help. It's going to help with the generation. It's going to help with the transmission. And then when it comes to distribution, it puts more resources on the table for the county and the utility to do their part. Part of the right-of-way is maintained by the county and the city, and the other part of the right-of-way is maintained by Entergy. And all three of those entities will see revenue increases because of the Amazon project, and about 5 counties in the footprint where those resources are going to be distributed. So
okay. Well, when I researched it, I think I'm recalling this right, that just the Entergy Mississippi's annual revenue is about $2 billion. Correct. And what Haley said last week, CEO of Entergy, is that Amazon as a customer is expected to pay them about $1 billion.
That's right.
So that's a 50% increase in their revenue, but the additional power needed to service AWS is little more than a third. So they're going to create about a third more power and charge 50% of their revenue for it. Seems to me like that's a good deal for the ratepayers.
It is a good deal for the ratepayers. But again, we have to always make sure we got proper safeguards in place. But on paper and with a calculator, that's a good deal for ratepayers in Mississippi.
Okay, I mean, it looks to me like it. So and the way he explained it is, as you know, the cost of electricity tends to climb over a period of time.
Inflation,
just basic inflation.
Inflation is hitting utilities hard because the sourcing of materials, the sourcing of transformers, and all of the supplies necessary to run an effective utility, they're running about a 2-year, lag time.
And labor.
And so,
with the shortage of labor, that means labor costs are up. That means they're subcontracting some of it. That costs more than having.
And that's where we need the average Mississippi household to help the utilities.
Okay.
All the utilities are short on workforce. We need more young people doing hard, recession-proof, highly paid labor that's right here in Mississippi. These jobs start off at $50,000 or $60,000 and
plus benefits,
and retirement. And it's not just Entergy. The electric cooperatives have the same issue. Sure. All of your gas companies, water, sewer, even the guys that are in those holes filled with sewer to make sure that everybody on the street sewer is fixed. Yeah. Those guys are demanding more resources because they can.
Market at work.
So we need help.
Okay.
We need grandmamas and daddies and uncles to get your young people. That's
a good message.
To work.
Appreciate that. You're right. That's a good message. And the other thing that is a factor, of course, that you guys consider in rate increases is kind of a no-brainer is the cost of the energy source to them, right? Correct. And for the most part, at Entergy, it's natural gas, right?
Right. We passed their gas riders from Mississippi Power and Energy in our previous meeting last Tuesday. It's a pass-through, but natural gas is about 76% of our power.
Okay.
In this whole state.
Okay.
So we're working to get more capacity there as well.
Nuclear, because I know you're a proponent of that, right?
Oh, most definitely. And we need customers like AWS and other customers to build the nuclear facilities we need for the future.
Right. Yeah. Appreciate you coming on, Commissioner.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner DeKeither Stamps. He represents the Central District Public Service Commission. We're coming right back in the Element Wealth studio.